I am the director of IGAD Center of Excellence for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism. I'll be your master of ceremony today for this very important State of the Region address by His Excellency, the Executive Secretary. In November 2019, when Dr. Workneh took over as the IGAD Executive Secretary, he was very clear that he wants an IGAD that is responsive and accountable to its member states, to its citizens, and to its partners. And to realize this, he developed several mechanisms, and especially the mechanism on accountability. And one of those mechanisms is the State of the Region address that we are here today. We are here for the third one. And within the State of the Region, the main purpose is for IGAD to be accountable. To be accountable, try to look at where we have come from, where we are, and where we are heading. So, and we are very privileged and honored to have the Executive Secretary take us through that. Dr. Workneh does not need to be introduced to any of you who are seated in this room, perhaps even those who are watching us online and on our television. But please allow me just to say a few words about you. Dr. Workneh is a distinguished son of the region. He has served at international, regional, and domestic levels in several capacities. For those who are good students of history, you will recall the service he has given as Commissioner of Police, Commissioner General in Ethiopia. You will recall the work he did in Ethiopia as Minister of Transport. For those who have visited Ethiopia, you'll see the foundation of infrastructure that he laid. For those who have used Ethiopia Airlines, you'll be able to know the work he did to make it one of the leading airlines in Africa. For those who are also good students of foreign policy and diplomacy, you will be able to recall the work he has done as Minister of Foreign Affairs for Ethiopia, as Chairman of IGAD Committee or IGAD Council of Ministers. So he has done so much, both at regional, international, and domestic level. For us as IGAD, we are privileged and honored to have him at the right time. I don't know how many of you have reflected the challenges and opportunities that the region has had, and looked at the contribution that he has made. But that's what is known in the public about Dr. Workneh. There are many things that those who are close to him also know about him. He's a man of the family. He's a father of 3 sons, but remains a very gender-sensitive man. And therefore, the wife always has the majority vote in the house. So for us who have been close there, know that. For those also who are close to him, know how straightforward, forthright he is, an honest man. His word, you can take it to the bank. Those who are born in Shashamene, in Ethiopia, where Dr. Workneh was born, tell me that if you walk around and mention his name, even if you wanted to take all the money in the bank in Shashamene, in the name of Dr. Workneh, you will be given, and say Dr. Workneh will come and pay. He will be given. That is the man of the people, and we are happy we have him. But also, let me tell you, colleagues, I have been lucky to be close to him when our region has faced challenges. I saw him when there was challenge in Ethiopia in conflict. And I looked at him, and I looked at his eyes. And I saw a tall giant with eyes full of tears, crying for his country. seen him when we had challenges of Kenya, Somalia. I saw another tall giant, also in tears, crying for his region. So I've seen him also in our countries come together and come together for peace. I've seen a joyful giant smiling and happy and joyful. That's the man who really passionately loves this region. And perhaps those who are in Pretoria for the negotiation peace process in Ethiopia will know the contribution he made. I would say with no fear of contradiction, if perhaps he was not in South Africa, in Pretoria, we would not have had that peace agreement. Please, that is the man we have as IGAD Executive Secretary. That's the man who will be telling us how our region is. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Dr. Workneh to give us the state of the region.
Sound check, 1, 2.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simon, for the all these things. All the credits goes to our colleagues, diplomats here, in fact, to the leaders of the region specifically. So I want to thank you for your introduction, especially about my gender sensitivity. Your Excellency Rahma Ali Obeid, Ambassador of the Republic of Sudan to Djibouti and Chair of the IGAD Committee of Ambassadors. Your Excellency Ambassador Yapsa Orani Monari, the representative of the Republic of Kenya, our gracious host. Your Excellencies, distinguished members of the IGAD Committee of Ambassadors, our esteemed partners both here and outside the region who have joined us online, fellow citizens of the IGAD region, my brothers and sisters, members of the IGAD family, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege and an honor to stand here before you for the third time to deliver the State of the Region address of IGAD region. Before I launch into this address, I want to take this opportunity to express our sincerest gratitude to the government and the people of Republic of Kenya for hosting us here in the enchanting city of Mombasa. I also want to recognize and thank our IGAD chair, the Republic of Sudan, under whose able leadership we have navigated what has been, without doubt, a turbulent 3 years. I also deeply appreciate the commitment of our member states, each and every one of you, to the cause of IGAD and their contribution to strengthening peace, mobilizing support to address the challenges we face together, and keeping the flame of regional integration alive. It is my duty to report on the state of our region, and I do so with the firm declaration, Your Excellencies, the state of the IGAD region today is better than it was 1 day ago. It is better than it was 1 week ago, and it is better than it was 1 year ago. 37 years ago, the leaders of our region came together to fight the triple threats of drought, desertification, and underdevelopment. Drought and desertification were cast as immediate, prominent natural hazards that devastated entire societies and states. while underdevelopment was identified as man-made hazard that threatened the entire generation and posed a long-term risk to the strength of our stability of the region. Allow me to explain, Your Excellencies, the founding fathers of IGAD recognized that underdevelopment is a symptom of scarcity, and scarcity is a catalyst for conflict and violence. Time has proven them right. The conflicts that have affected our region, other parts of the continent and the world have led to a mutual recognition that scarcity is not limited to natural resources alone, but also extends to a national will. Peace and the stability to address and to resolve internal tension is perhaps the greatest defense that states and nations can have in these times of extreme political polarization and internal strife. For the IGAD region, the surest path to peace is to deliver progress and prosperity through regional integration and unity. We should be all commit to heart the opening paragraph of 1996 agreement establishing IGAD, which places the principle of unity at the front and center of our organization, which states, and I quote, considering the well-established ties of brotherhood and fruitful cooperation existing among our people and governments. In these 15 words lie the key to our integration. We are inseparably connected. The acknowledgement that our individual dreams are best realized by our collective efforts. The agreement goes further and charges IGAD first and foremost to promote peace, security, and stability, eliminates sources of conflict, as well as prevent and resolve conflicts in the sub-region as a pathway to regional unity. Indeed, this peace and security function is what has come to define IGAD. And furthermore, it is the changing peace and security situation in our region that has preoccupied a lot of attention of the region and as well as the world. I will now take you through some of the key highlights of the recent challenges and successes and victories in these areas, starting with election. The IGAD region peacefully and successfully navigated a 2-year election cycle that ran from 2021 to 2022 in 5 out of 7 our member states. These include elections in Kenya, Uganda, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somalia. These are the countries which conducted election. Out of 7 member states, we did within 2 years, 5 of our member states did election. This peaceful election demonstrates the growing regional commitment to the democratic process and the principle of, most importantly, constitutionality. Let us agree that elections are very significant component of peace and stability. But nevertheless, they remain only one of the many contributing elements to the regional stability equation. Over the past year, Your Excellencies, colleagues, IGAD was significantly affected by 5 major peace and security situations that dominated regional and international discourse, and I will now turn your attention to 5 of them. The Ethiopia-Sudan border dispute. First is the border dispute between the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the Republic of Sudan. One of the biggest achievements for peace and security in the region was when IGAD held the 39th Extraordinary Assembly of IGAD Heads of State and Government in Nairobi in July 2022. This extraordinary summit, Your Excellencies, brought together the Chairman of Transitional Sovereign Council of the Republic of Sudan, His Excellency General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, His Excellency Abiy Ahmed Ali, to dialogue, de-escalate, and diffuse raising tensions along the shared border area between the two countries. The outcome of these talks between the leaders is undeniable proof of the abundant political will and commitment in our region to resolve conflicts and disputes through peaceful negotiation and in spirit of Africanism and brotherhood and sisterhood. Secondly, the conflict in northern Ethiopia was perhaps the most paramount situation that dominated the focus of international attention within our region and around the world. Far from allowing the situation to worsen, IGAD and other partners actively participated and intervened and was instrumental, together with the African Union, in brokering the agreement on permanent cessation of hostilities and silencing of the guns in northern Ethiopia. That was signed in Pretoria, South Africa, on the 2nd of November 2022. The peace agreement was further reinforced by a roadmap for implementation, including facilitation and unhindered humanitarian access to all in need of assistance in northern Ethiopia and neighboring regions. That was signed in the 12th of November following the second round of talks in Nairobi, Kenya. This historical agreement, Your Excellencies, is a signal of strengthening unity and return to harmony, not only for Ethiopia, but also for the entire region and beyond. We are most grateful to the heads of states and presidents of our region, which I know very well. They were very worried upon the situation and following, who have been very vital in building the momentum towards dialogue for the peaceful resolution of the situation in northern Ethiopia. IGAD is grateful for His Excellency Abiy Ahmed Ali, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, for the commitment for peace, alongside the leadership of the TPLF, who agreed to amicably and conclusively bring an end to the conflict that engulfed northern Ethiopia and initiate the process of reconciliation. Let me also thank His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto for his decision to, in his inaugural address, to designate former President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, as a mediator from the region to this very important peace talk. Furthermore, IGAD owes all the panelists from the African Union a debt of gratitude for the monumental contributions they made towards restoration of peace in Ethiopia. At this point, I also want to recognize and thank, on behalf of IGAD, the friends and partnership of our region, including the United Nations, the United States of America, the European Union, and among others, who supported peace and mediation effort to bring the conflict to the end. IGAD highlights the peace agreement in Ethiopia is a prime example for African solution to African problems. And looking to the future, commits to continue supporting the implementation of cessation of hostilities. African Union has successfully spearheaded this process impartially and independently. Third, the situation in the Republic of Sudan is still progressing toward resolution. IGAD is working in conjunction with the African Union and the United Nations under the patronage of the trilateral mechanism to coordinate and support national dialogue toward a civil transition. However, progress still has been gradual. The intensive effort of the trilateral mechanism over the past year resulted in the political framework agreement of December 22 between the military and broad section of the civilian leadership. This January, second phase of talks among the civilian leadership was held towards building broader consensus for December agreement. Looking forward to 2023, IGAD remains optimistic that the civilian dialogue will arrive at a common position on the roadmap to transition. IGAD supports an inclusive and participatory consultation process and call for the broader participation of all stakeholders, including signatories of the 2020 Juba Agreement, to which IGAD is guarantor and remains grateful to the leadership of the Republic of South Sudan for its support. Bearing three dynamics in mind, in the evidence that the peace process in Sudan will benefit significantly from the increased political support of IGAD, African Union member states, and the international community. In this regard, I underscore, Your Excellencies, the call made by the 48th Ordinary Session of the IGAD Council of Ministers for the initiation of the process to readmit of the Republic of Sudan to the African Union, alongside the lifting of any sanctions that may be hindering this transition process in South Sudan and other countries in our region. The fourth one is the Federal Republic of Somalia, which continues to make gradual and consistent progress toward stabilization. The successful conclusion of election in May is evidence of this process. Regarding the threat of terrorism that seeks unsuccessfully weaken the unity of our region, IGAD commends the government, security forces, and people of Somalia for the recent gains and sustained efforts to counter the influence of Al-Shabaab terrorist groups. Let us also note that these positive efforts have not gone unanswered because the terrorist groups has increased its activities and attack targets in even the most highly secured areas. In 2023 is therefore a critical year for the fight against terrorism in Somalia. We call upon IGAD member states and the international community at large to scale up support to His Excellency President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed and the Somali National Security Force to neutralize this group. Specifically, IGAD appeals to increase regional and continental and international support for AU transition mission in Somalia, ATMIS, which working together with the Somalia Security Force are positioned to have more lasting and effective remedy to the problem of terrorism in Somalia, with the strong emphasis of protection of civilians. At the political and diplomatic level, IGAD shall continue to work with our partners within the quartet framework in Somalia that convene IGAD, the African Union, the European Union, and the United Nations to coordinate joint effort toward ensuring peace, security, and development in our state, our sister member state. We also take note of the recent tensions in Lasanot at the end of 2022, which became a matter of concern. Considering the significant number of civilians' deaths and casualties, and call for diffusion of the tension. The Somaliland issue continues to require our full attention towards a peaceful resolution. At this point, Your Excellencies, IGAD appreciates the mediation effort made so far by His Excellency President Ismail Omar Gille, President of the Republic of Djibouti, and further encourage this continued engagement. Lastly, the Republic of South Sudan. Progress has been recorded in implementing the revitalized peace agreement in South Sudan, notably the establishment of full functional executive, the transitional assembly, state and local governments. IGAD also welcomes the progress recorded under the transitional security arrangement, and in particular, IGAD congratulates the Republic of South Sudan for necessary unification of forces, of which 82% have graduated in the first phase of last year. This restoration of peace between parties the agreement is a major achievement for our region, and IGAD is gratified to have played a significant role in bringing them together for the unity of the country. Nevertheless, the implementation of other core provisions of revitalized peace agreement is still behind the schedule, especially the constitution-making process and the conduct national elections within 24 months extension of the transitional period, which expires next year in December 2024. Moreover, as peace is taking root in Juba, IGAD is gravely concerned by the escalation in violence in the Upper Nile and Western Equatorial states, where hundreds of our brothers and sisters have lost their lives and thousands have been displaced, posing a further risk to the implementation of the agreement. Looking forward the remaining transition period, Your Excellencies, IGAD commits to supporting implementation of the extension roadmap and shall engage with all stakeholders to ensure that they implement the activities remaining in the fullest extent possible before the stipulated deadline. I must, however, cautious that the progress toward full implementation of the South Sudan peace agreement has been also hampered by reduced financial resources available to IGAD-supported monitoring, verification, and evaluation mechanism. To further compound the challenges, the suspended Rome peace process between the government and non-signatories opposition group is a matter of additional concern. Following the consultation held in December 2022 between the leadership of the Republic of South Sudan and the mediators based in Rome, IGAD urges for return to the negotiation table and resumption of dialogue by all parties. In 2023, Your Excellencies, IGAD is determined to ride the wind of peace that has been sweeping across our region, and promise to continue working tirelessly to resolve the remaining very important challenges that the region is facing. We cannot be peaceful if all of us are not peaceful. I dedicate my time, energy, and that of the Secretariat towards to pursue of peace and topmost priority, and the region for sure slowly but surely graduate from these peace and security challenges. Let me back to other non-human things that are regional disaster and humanitarian issues. Even as we focus on tackling the man-made challenges, Your Excellencies, natural hazards and disaster cannot be ignored and downplayed. And this is where I turn to the non-conflict issues affecting our region that still have an impact on peace and security and stability. 2021-2022 were some of the most challenging years in the history of the region. It was one of the hottest, driest, and most conflict-affected period for our region in recent memory. Rising the challenges, IGAD worked diligently to respond to the challenges posed by the global pandemic, climate change, the persistent drought, post-invasion, and seasonal flooding, all of which combined contributed to their regional food security situation. Let me start with the prolonged drought. Our region remains a grip of relentless drought that has lasted the past 2 years. Now, as we go into 2023, the outlook is still worrisome. Climate scientists has issued an early warning that this year could be even warmer because the La Nina climate phenomena, which has cooling global temperature, is coming to an end. It will be most likely replaced by the El Nino phenomena, which is projected to raise temperatures worldwide. The good news for our region from this projection is that the likelihood of 6 consecutive seasons of failed rain is reduced. But the bad news as well is that it is possible that our region could rapidly change from severe drought to severe flooding, such as one we experienced in 1996, 2016, and most recently, 2019. The extreme changes in weather are the grave concerns to our region. The drought affected over 10% of our population, with 36.1 million people facing heightened levels of food insecurity. The drought also wiped out the estimated 4.2 million of heads of livestock, shattering the livelihoods of entire pastoralists, communities, and crippling them economically. This is devastating for our continent as a whole, considering that IGAD region hosts almost 50% of the livestock in sub-Saharan Africa, and livestock accounts at almost 15% of our regional or domestic GDP. In response to these challenges of extreme weather, Your Excellencies, livestock losses and resultant food insecurity, IGAD proposed in 2023 to undertake a number of proactive initiatives, beginning with convening a regional climate outlook forum 19 days from now on the 20th of February to come together and to strategize the situation. This forum will be part of our continuing effort to remain the most climate-aware region on the continent and enhance the ability of our member states to collect and process data for disaster forecasting in order to reduce the gap between early warning and early action. Already we have some evidences of this success from this approach. In 2021 and 2022, we noted with some satisfaction that our initiative to take the data to the people raised the warning in good time. This allowed member states, grassroots communities, and international humanitarian agencies to respond in good time to avert the minimum famine condition. This is a trend that must continue to 2023 and beyond. The prolonged drought also triggered large-scale population displacement, with close to 2 million people becoming internally displaced, and increasing the refugees' burden in the region because of approximately 40,000 of our brothers and sisters sought asylum from hunger in neighboring countries in 2022. This may be increasing the next year. The active conflict in Ukraine had a massive effect on the regional economy, inflated the price of food, fertilizer, and fuel. For instance, over the past 2 years, food price in the region increased by average of 55.6%, compelling the neediest among us to spend over 90% of their income only on food. In 2023, going forward, this dire situation has inspired us to review the IGAD food security and nutrition response strategy and align it with the current realities. As part of the initiative, IGAD will be investing heavily in food security data, A starting point will be a region-wide census of livestock in order to have a clear picture of situation after the drought. The intention here, Your Excellencies, is that support member states to drive evidence-based restocking programs as part of post-drought economic recovery and drought-affected pastoralist communities. To inform the regional livestock fodder security strategy based on scientifically derived feed balances and ultimately establish regional strategic food and fodder reservation. As part of our ongoing effort to support climate change adaptation and mitigation this year, IGAD will be supporting member states this year to access climate financing under the Green Climate Fund funded by 2015 Paris Agreement, as well as the Loss and Damage Fund established by resolution of COP27 in 2022 in Egypt. Your Excellencies and colleagues, scientists have advised us COVID-19 is here to stay in the long term. In the same vein as diseases such as malaria, HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and Ebola as well. Taking note of this, IGAD COVID-19 response projection has been one of the biggest success stories, with interventions targeting vulnerable communities and directly reaching more than 1.9 million people of the region, to deliver more than 8.6 million sets of personal protective equipment, 36 medical support vehicles, and 14 PCR mass testing mechanisms to our member states. Recently, we had to continue with the outbreak of deadly Ebola virus in our sister member state, the Republic of Uganda. We heartily congratulate His Excellency President Kaguta Yoweri Museveni and the national health authorities of Uganda for successfully containing the situation and making the sacrifice necessary to keep our region safe. Looking forward in 2023 and beyond, we take the lessons of the past 1,000 days of heat, remain vigilant, and continue building the resilience and health system of IGAD member states against the future pandemics. Because of the urgency of this issue, IGAD will, in the next 100 days, convene the health policy leadership and professionals in the region to continue the ongoing process of formulating a comprehensive plan to strengthen national health system for improved regional pandemic response. There are many more natural and man-made hazard situations in our region that I have not mentioned, and accordingly, in 2023, IGAD will be laying great emphasis to disaster risk reduction and strengthening our multi-hazard early warning capabilities to address these challenges that we are expecting ahead. Specifically, we will be seeking to enhance existing early warning capabilities and scaling up to fully fledged disaster situation center that will supply information to eminent crisis to member states in order to contain and prevent them from escalating to regional crisis. As I stated, Your Excellencies, the beginning of this address, the core mandate of IGAD has been and remain regional integration. At the preceding work we are doing in peace and security, health and social development, agriculture and environment, disaster prevention and response is geared toward the real integration. To create optimal conditions for our people to interact, make a decent living and prosper in the peaceful and predictable environment that is within our region. As one of the most important geostrategic locations in the world, our region has incredible integration potential that is waiting to be unlocked. According to the African Regional Integration Index, our region is approximately 50% 50% integrated, meaning we still have halfway to go starting the full integration that needs another years. IGAD is further committed as a regional economic community of the African Union to deliver on the tremendous potential that continental free trade areas hold for the region. I also know for certain that the political will to integrate and exploit the latent potential of the pooled resources exists in our region and in our leaders. On the area of infrastructure alone, our region has advanced remarkably in the last decade with road, rail, sea, and air link. On trade, we have also made significant progress to allow staff and non-staff barriers, including the IGAD protocols on free movement and transhuman, as well as establishment of one-stop border posts. These instruments lay a firm policy and practical foundation and establish an enabling regulatory environment for successful implementation and realization of the tangible aspects. We are not maximizing on our potential and harvesting on how in our low-hanging fruits. This is why in 2023, Your Excellencies, IGAD will prioritize the soft integration strategy by focusing on digitalization as a catalyst of interconnection and intra-connection. In the entire history of mankind, Your Excellencies, nothing has brought us closer than the power to commune and share information and ideas over vast distances. IGAD is calling in this regard to ensure that the information needed to make a strategic decision at both macroeconomy and microeconomy levels is readily available and accessible. Our aim is, as IGAD, make it easier for both stakeholders in the region to have ability to operate at the speed of thought because they have access to the credible data they need to make a policy or any kind of decision. We must own and own our data if we are to shape our destiny. IGAD in 2023 will aim to significantly strengthen its position as a source of reference and a source of data of our region. A source of data in terms of conflict, disasters, and all aspects of development. We know about our region better than anybody. Since I have laid out for you an ambitious set of intention for IGAD in the coming year, I am also obliged to demonstrate how we will keep our promise, and more importantly, to show that the potential and ability to do so, how to exist. Let me assure you that the potential and ability of IGAD exists in abundance in the hearts and minds of our people, and most importantly, in our colleagues who are working in IGAD. The ability to deliver is also vested in our member states. IGAD exists to serve your collective interests. And lastly, the ability to deliver on our intentions in 2023 exists because we can count on the support of our many friends in the international community. Our achievement and last year achievements and our challenges have shown that we do not take your support for granted, nor do you invest in IGAD in vain, and we will, in 2023, strengthen, deepen, and broaden our international relations. I want to specifically thank the international partners, especially the United Nations, African Union, African Development Bank, World Bank, GIZ, all European Union member states, and Islamic Development Bank, and others who supported us, and they were with us in all weather that we were navigating in our region. Furthermore, we are immensely grateful to our bilateral partners, including the United States, members countries of the IGAD Partners Forum that is co-chaired by Italy, Gulf cooperation countries, as well as new partners such as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the Republic of Turkey. In the past 1,161 days, IGAD has enhanced its reputation as a rule-based organization. We are specifically grateful for the leadership of our current chair, the Republic of Sudan, who has convened and coordinated our member states for regulatory policy level consultations and fostered regional policy decisions. This is an undeniable demonstration of strengthening unity of our region and highest political and diplomatic level to address the challenges that faces us, as well as charting the path forward to capture available opportunities. Your Excellencies, the Secretariat has readily risen to the responsibility of implementing the decisions and directives of IGAD policy organs. For instance, 2023, we are looking forward for the accession of the revised IGAD treaty that will strengthen and revitalize the mandate of our organization in the region. Furthermore, IGAD looks forward in playing a more active role in continental and international platforms, especially in African Union Peace and Security Council, as I started at the recently concluded consultation between the African Union and Regional Economic Community that took place in Nairobi, Kenya. As we reflect on the burdens we bear and celebrate the successes of yesterday, it is now time to us to look forward to the challenges and prospects that the Secretariat that will face tomorrow. Your Excellencies, the challenges are numerous and significant. Yet the reputation of IGAD has been built on seizing opportunities and overcoming obstacles, and we come together as a region we have never felt. With regards to intention of Secretariat itself in the coming year, our strategy for reform and revitalization remains our true and faithful guide. We are privileged that it has been further augmented by the roadmap of the Chairman of the Republic of Sudan. 2023 marks the midpoint of the current IGAD strategy plan of 2021-2025. We are gearing up to take stock of the progress we have realized and coming up with the next set of strategic intention that will establish a firm foundation for the security, development, and prosperity of estimated 400 million of the people of our region. IGAD stands in the region, in the continent, and in the world is well known, and the success of the IGAD is the success of each and every member state of our member states. Going forward, we will work to sustain and build the reputation of IGAD by improving our infrastructure capacity, raising the visibility of our work, and keeping with increased prominence. I am delighted to report IGAD has already revised a most generous contribution of different member states that we are going to build our new headquarters in Djibouti. We want to thank again the Republic of Djibouti for giving us this prime space, and this year we will start to build the headquarters which look like all of us. I want to thank the Republic of Djibouti who hosted us for 37 years with dignity and in African pride that they are helping us on this endeavor. In April 2021, we broke ground in Cancer Center of Excellence in Addis Ababa, and we continue to aggressively build partnership for this funding and operation, and the government and people of Ethiopia has given us a very important prime land to establish the Cancer Center that is going to be a center of excellence for the region. I also express my sincerest gratitude to the IGAD Partners Forum and the Royal Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for contributing for this Cancer Center. Now turning the theme to investing in our people, I want to focus on potential and dynamism of our youth. In 2021, I recall we launched that IGAD scholarship program, supporting young, gifted students from vulnerable communities to access higher education. This is one of the best avenues of regional integration through education. IGAD urges all our member states and partners to make your contribution to growing the intellectual capital of our region, and join the Republic of Sudan and Uganda, who availed scholarships in the institutions of their higher education. From my personal experience, Your Excellencies, I have come to firmly believe that when young people from across the region share the same academic plate, the future of our regional integration agenda is secured through the bond of friendship that they will have forged in their formative years. In the same vein, I am pleased by the progress that have been made so far in bringing the IGAD Leadership Academy to life. I am confident that this year, with the support of the member states and partners, the IGAD Leadership Academy will induct the inaugural class of next generation leaders who will, in time, steer our region to ever greater heights of harmony and progress. It is said that the best place to learn is at the feet of the elders. And IGAD as an organization is always keen to learn. I am therefore pleased to announce that later today we'll be launching the IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities. This body is the brain trust of consisting of 21 highly respected sons and daughters of our region, who have excelled in their respective fields of endeavor to gain worldwide renown and command international respect, and of course, the respect of each and every population of the region. Let me raise one example which I know. One of the eminent personalities selected from Ethiopia is Deraartuu Tulluu, the first African woman to win the Olympic in 10,000 meters gold medal. Also, she has become an even more widely, she did a lot of medals and Olympic medals, just I mentioned this one. But most importantly, she became an even more widely recognized and highly respected because she stood as a voice of reason and a voice of peace during the conflict in Ethiopia. Because of that, Assistant Commissioner Deraartuu is well respected, loved with all Ethiopians, irrespective of who is from which clan or ethnicity. So we have here her peer members of the council. Each and every one of them have a lot of books to write about them. And equally, men and women of similar stature and reason who were likewise carefully selected to serve as an advisory body to the Secretariat and support the work of IGAD and amplify our regional message and agenda to the people. These eminent personalities are set to act as a goodwill ambassadors for IGAD in local and international platforms on various pressing issues including climate change, humanitarian and disaster response, community resilience, peace, security, and reconciliation, as well as regional economic integration. I, for one, cannot wait to welcome them. And also, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, we are really, really honored to have these eminent personalities as a part and parcel of IGAD future endeavor. In conclusion to this address, Your Excellencies, I am delighted to see that the IGAD family is reuniting to overcome the deep rifts and tensions that threaten our region before a year. We have come this far together today, and I know we will go even further together tomorrow. I call upon member states, our leaders, brothers and sisters in the region and diaspora to rally and join hands to share the promise of our shared future. Finally, we are now casting our eyes forward, resolutely seize the promise of 2023 and beyond. And I invite each and every one of us to take part in our common dreams and prospects of a better, more peaceful, and more prosperous and more integrated IGAD. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Colleagues, let me request we stand, we give His Excellency a better clap. Please. Thank you very much. Excellencies, colleagues, you'll agree with me that that has been the most comprehensive, detailed, and honest reflection of the work that we have collectively done as IGAD. And as His Excellency has mentioned in his words, each one of you has made a contribution to that work. Your Excellency, thank you very much for that honesty, reflection of us. You have also given us, looking at the future, the things that we need to look at, so that as we celebrate the things we have done, and we look at the challenges that we have done, look at the things that we need to do better, and you have been able to give that roadmap to us. Colleagues, I think that was very comprehensive, detailed, and I think we need time to sit, reflect, and digest, and also celebrate. So I would, with your permission, Your Excellency, before we jump into the next program, I think we would take a cup of tea and also have that reflection so that we will be able to be back for the next program. So I would request that we take a break for about an hour and be back at 12 for the next program on eminent personality. Please, let's congratulate each other and be happy for the things that we have done as a family, and by our loud of clap again to His Excellency and to ourselves. Please, Your Excellency, you lead us and the ambassadors to